If you've been planning a trip to the wine country this fall, perhaps for the first time since the pandemic, get ready for sticker shock. Wine tasting costs have soared in Sonoma County. The new Sonoma Wine Tasting Report finds the average cost of a tasting in March of 2020, just before the lockdown, was $25, or make that $26. Compare that to June of this year. The average price of a tasting, $36. That's a whopping 44% increase. Joining us live now is Eric Schwartzman, editor of the Sonoma Wine Tasting blog, which put out this report. Eric, thanks for joining us. Tell us about the report. What did you set out to learn here?
Well, first of all, thanks, Kristen, for inviting me to be here. It's a pleasure to be with you to talk about the wine tasting report, which, as you saw, is on the cover of the San Francisco Chronicle today, which was really exciting. I think what we set to find from the report is, how healthy is the Sonoma winery business post-pandemic? And what shape did the pandemic, the lockdown, and inflation put on the industry?
All right. Well, how healthy is the industry can be. It could be related, but it can be separate from how much are they charging people these days. I'll get into the health with you in a little bit, but I want to talk about these prices because they were shocking. Let's just show people another point of comparison, and this is in Sonoma County. That's what you looked at. Glen Ellen's Benzinger? I don't drink, so you're going to have to pronounce this for me. Tell me about...
right. Benzinger, that was correct.
I did get it. Okay. Right. Okay, so they're... tasting, walk us through the prices in 2020 and 2022 and Abbott's Passage too.
Okay, so first off, I don't think they're shocking. I think the increases are marginal compared to what we're seeing in other sectors.
Yeah, like 20%, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're up the highest in Healdsburg. We saw prices up 74% in Healdsburg. In Santa Rosa, prices were up 70%. City of Sonoma, prices are up 33%. Sebastopol, wine tasting prices up 20%, and Glen Ellen up 12%. Now, interestingly enough, prices were actually down in Geyserville, which is obviously the furthest distance from San Francisco in the East Bay. So if you're on a budget and you're willing to make the drive, you might want to consider a Geyserville winery.
I like that. You got a tip. I was going to ask you that. What are some tips for visitors? Are you seeing any differences in price increases between the high-end wineries and the more mass-market ones?
Well, the reason that we did, we are the Sonoma Wine Tasting blog, and the reason that this is the Sonoma Wine Tasting report and that we don't include Napa is because, Napa is where the big wineries are, but Sonoma is really a bastion for small business and micro wineries and small wineries.
Yeah.
And as much as we love tech, I don't think any of us wants to live in a world where we all work for Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. So we're really here to support small business and to support these sort of intimate, unpretentious, almost, should I say, divine experiences that you can have at a small winery where the person pouring the wine is following the product from grape to glass.
It's a great experience, but I do have to ask you, right? The price increases, is that a result of their costs increasing, supply chain issues, labor shortage, what have you, or is it something else? Is it that finally people are coming back and they lost money for 2 years, so they'll just raise the prices?
So the thing to understand about the wine business is that it has a durability that's unique to the hospitality sector. Hotels and restaurants, they can easily change their prices, but winemaking costs are front-loaded, right? Because of the aging process, wines made this year won't be sold for years in advance. So regardless of what happens to prices in the future, winemakers still have to pay current market labor, transportation, and materials costs. And that's probably the biggest reason why tasting room prices are up.
All right. In addition to the prices being a little different, costing, a little bit more, sticker shock, what have you, what else is different in terms of the experience in the wine tasting room? Anything that's changed because of the pandemic?
Yes. So in the Sonoma Wine Tasting Report, we actually segmented our research by town. And, what we found is that there's basically, the big change is that most wineries are reservation only now. It used to be you could just show up. But now, 85% of Sonoma wine tasting rooms are by appointment only. And I think this is probably because of two things. First, social distancing made wine bar tasting pretty much impossible because you can't pack a bunch of people around a bar. And then for the second reason, I think, the shift to reservations meant that it was easier for small wineries. And I think it's important to understand that most wineries in Sonoma are small wineries to balance staffing against customer demand. Because if you're a small winery, you can't afford to staff a wine tasting room if there are no customers. And so for that reason, I think reservation only is here to stay.
Got it. Any money saving tips before we leave, and other than driving a little farther out to Geyserville?
Look, Sonoma draws a different type of consumer. Sonoma is the place that attracts people who want something new, who want something obscure, who want something off the beaten path. These aren't people who want to be herded through a hospitality center, like cattle at some mega winery that does 1 million cases a year. These are people that want to go meet someone who's making 2,500 cases a year, 5,000 cases a year. And I honestly don't think price is that big of a factor for that audience. Whether it's $25 or $36, it's nominal. The reality is this is a chance to get outside the world of big tech, outside the world of multinational corporations, and really sort of get your hands into the soil, walk the vineyard, and have a spiritual experience.
All right, I gotcha. I hear what you're saying. It's a more intimate experience, and a lot of people do like that. All right, folks can check out the full Sonoma wine tasting report where? Real quickly, we got to go.
HalleckVineyard.com/wine report.
All right. Hey, thank you so very much, Eric. Great talking with you.
Thanks for having me.
And cheers.